What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Let's Get It. Again, the main attraction back in the building, man. Uh, I know I promised I'd talk on this. I haven't been looking too forward to it. It's like my basketball season hasn't been going too well, in terms of my predictions. But, hey, sometimes you just gotta roll the dice, right? Let's touch on the Lakers, y'all. Now, don't forget, when this season started, I said, and I stuck by it, when LeBron came to LA, first of all, I didn't believe it was for basketball, which I still don't. I don't think it was a basketball move. But out of respect for who LeBron is, I did predict that the Lakers would at least make the playoffs. Now, unlike Stephen A. Smith and some other people I watched on TV who were predicting them to go to the conference finals, I mean, that was a little ridiculous. But I did predict they would go to the playoffs, bow out the first round, and I felt that LeBron would win another MVP. Well, as you probably know, I was wrong on all accounts. I was wrong on all accounts. But no, let's really dive into this because some of y'all, and I can't believe again, this is me saying this, but some of y'all are really taking this a little overboard on why the Lakers didn't make the playoffs. Now, let's keep in mind that LeBron went down against Golden State over on December 25th, and he missed 18 games. Now, remember, at the time when LeBron went down, the Lakers were fourth in the West. And what's killing me, from just people on the street and even people I'm watching on TV in the positions that I'm trying to get to myself, are acting like that doesn't matter. The man misses 18 games, and before he went down, he had them in fourth. But he goes down. Clearly, his teammates couldn't hold the load even a little bit, and that doesn't mean anything? That doesn't play a factor? That the best player misses 18 games, his teammates can't hold the load, and they basically drop out of the playoffs. And by the time he does come back, they're basically 4 games out of the 8th seed. And again, expecting LeBron to at least beat LeBron, I thought he'd at least get him to the 8th seed, but it didn't happen. So let's just start in from there. Some of y'all are probably saying, well, Tree, aren't you the one that always talks about LeBron and his desire to win not existing? You're right. I mean, honestly, I kind of feel like I'm debating myself in a way. Again, I cannot overlook the fact that LeBron missed 18 games. And not just on top of that, we can't overlook the fact of the whole AD situation, which, whether they would admit it or not, clearly played a psychological role amongst the team, especially once it didn't go down. Because, again, I'm sure it's hard for anybody to hear that you're not wanted and to hear that possibly you're about to get traded. I mean, take me personally, when I played for an old team of mine, the Indiana Alley Cats, they tried to get rid of me religiously, And it was to the point where I was sitting there wondering, like, why the hell did you even sign me then? But the only difference is, again, my mindset is this, like, while I'm here, I'm going to play. And clearly, my mindset was that I knew what I could bring to the table, that I don't depend on anyone to, feel that it's going to help me win, because I thought I'm going to win anyway. As long as I'm on the court, I thought I'm going to win. Clearly, that wasn't the case for these, Lakers without LeBron. And in LeBron's defense, again, he could only control so much. And I would start off with his teammates of the fact of, again, like I say to the young bucks who watch this video, understand that as you get ready to, head on to the next level, if you're in high school getting ready to go to college, and if you're college getting ready to try to go pro, whether it be the NBA, overseas, G League, whatever league you're trying to go to, continue to work on your game, but always remember that this game, in any professional sport, even in any collegiate level, it's a business. Have that in mind. And basically have yourself a plan. If I could talk to my younger self and do it all over again, I would explain to him like how much of a business this is. That yeah, you need to have the skill, but understand the politics that roll into this. And find a way to basically make sure you're taking care of yourself, but at the same time you still take care of business for your team. Clearly the Lakers, the Laker players didn't have that mindset. Now, injuries did play a certain factor. Lonzo Ball did go down. He got hurt. Personally, myself, I didn't think it was that big of a factor in terms of him. But, again, like I said on the other show that I did, Courtside Radio, I give Zoe one more year for me. because I mean, with all the other stuff he has going on, I mean, he's been hurt so far in almost the majority of his career. But I'm not that impressed with when he's been on the court anyway. I mean, he's been okay. But I'll give him one more year before I probably make up my mind on whether I decide the kid is a bust or not. But still, for the rest of the team that was there, I mean, to take it upon yourself, I mean, where's the pride? You know, you just want to hang your hat in the fact that, okay, you found out that you might be traded, you know, for another player who, again, you may just have to accept the fact that he's better. And if you don't think he's better, go out there and show it. Again, I mean, the time where they could have made their statement for them to do their thing and try to make a point on, like, this is why you should keep me, they didn't do it. If anything, they fueled the fire on why they were going to get traded in the first place. You know, that's what I'm going to jump to LeBron. Like I said again, I mean, my stance on LeBron doesn't change. I respect that he's an all-time great player, top 5, definitely 3, you could argue. But again, I do question his desire to win. You know, now again, he was injured. Now, was he 100% when he came back? Probably not. But in this term, I don't think necessarily it came down to his desire to win. But in terms of this time around, I think it came down to his leadership. You know, I mean, I find it hard to believe that LeBron didn't know that with everything that went down, especially after the whole AD situation, as they were just trying to hopefully get in the playoffs, which even though they didn't, that AD situation didn't basically leave a scar amongst his teammates. And I mean, he probably tried to avoid it, or you know, he probably tried to act like it wasn't as big a deal as it was, but clearly it was. And personally, myself, if I found myself in that situation, again, I mean, we just need to have a heart-to-heart, talk to my squad. Because again, my thing is this: at the end of the day, I just want to win. You know, whatever our issues are, you know, let's just pan it out and just get it on the table. Yes, did I have a hand in probably getting you traded? Yeah, I did. Okay, I own that. You know, you want me to apologize? I mean, why am I apologize for something? I'm just going to own the fact, yes, I did try to have you traded. But the fact of the matter is it didn't go down. And if you're going to sit here and hold your little grievance or your little grudge against me and let that affect us on the court to the point where we're losing games and we're basically finding ourselves outside of playoff contention, once again, I mean, LeBron's going to be fine. These other players, again. But as for LeBron, like I said, I didn't see that out of him. And like I said, you know, if he was hurt, he wasn't 100% again, okay, fine, but he chose to be on the court. If you're going to be on the court, you got to play. And he did his thing as best as he could. But again, I just don't feel his teammates basically were on the same, page with him in terms of trying to right the ship. Like I said, I mean, the damage had been done after that whole AD thing. You know, and no matter how much of a face they wanted to put on and try to make it seem like things were going to be okay, it never could get right again. I mean, the games they should have won, and again, one of the episodes I did, the games I expected them to win, they couldn't get it. Losing the teams they had no business losing to. But again, I just think up here, they were just so psychologically damaged that they couldn't get past the point of, you tried to get me traded. Instead of just looking at the fact like, okay, what's done is done. It didn't go down. We're still here now. Let's get back to business. Let's try to get back into the playoff contention, which is what it should have been. But again, as I've always said, if you're going to take the lion's share of the credit, you've got to be willing to take the lion's share of the blame. And LeBron is the leader. He calls himself the leader. And with that, I just felt his leadership skills were very lacking of that, even though he did come back from his injury and try to bring his team back. But again, I don't think it was so much physical as it was mental. Amongst his teammates, he didn't do a good job of trying to address that and trying to get everybody back on the same page again of trying to get back into the playoff contention. This one's going to kind of be a 2-in-1, because like I spoke about earlier, Magic Johnson stepped down unexpectedly yesterday from his role as president. And I happened to see that on my Twitter page. And for me, based on it, if you haven't seen it, watch the interviews, the clips they had of Magic when he had his little impromptu press conference. It was genuine, And I do believe Magic meant what he said when he said, I'm not having fun. And he wanted to go back to being Magic. And he referred to, he didn't appreciate the backstabbing and the gossiping and the back and forth. I mean, I think all of us can relate to that. We've all worked on a job or even just in the social level, just being around certain people. You know people like that who like to do that. And I can understand that. But not just that, but I think, again, it's based off the reports that I heard from Stephen A. today on First Take, who I trust, because, the man handles his business in terms of his interviews. It just seems like, again, that even though for all the love Magic had for Jeanie Buss and obviously the Laker organization, at the end of the day, they couldn't come to an agreement on something. And, obviously, like Stephen A. was saying today, Luke Walton and his staff were supposed to be fired today at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. They were supposed to be fired today. But Magic stepped down. So they're still there. So it leads me to believe that even though Magic was supposed to have all this power and free reign to do what he wanted, somewhere in there, again, it's Jeanie Buss's team. And I feel that, again, some people are sitting there saying today that Magic's, he quit and, is a bad scar on his legacy. I don't get into all that. I don't think it's all that. I just think Magic made the right move for himself. That, just like I've told coworkers of myself or even former teammates, your peace of mind has to matter. And clearly, whatever moves that Magic Johnson wanted to make, if you're not letting Magic Johnson make basketball decisions, this all-time great, and you're basically throwing a roadblock in his way, this man who won 5 championships in his own right, who would blame him? Who wants to be a part of that if you're not going to allow him to make the moves that he needs to make? Now, the reports are saying that, basically circled around Rob Pelinka, that Magic wanted to not only get rid of Luke Walton, but Rob Pelinka too. But somewhere in there, Jeanie Buss basically, vetoed that. So I don't blame Magic for doing that because I can have all the love for you in the world. And I think the best comparison I can make it would go back to my senior year of college. I had love for my teammates, but the way that season went down and the way certain things were done, and not even just my teammates, I'll even specifically point out my college coach. The way that season went down and the way things were going, even though we were winning for the most part, there was something wrong. And myself and my college coach were pretty much the only 2 people who were there from the beginning of our era, of what you want to call our dynasty, of our successful run, from the beginning to basically the end. And when I went to him to address issues that I saw and basically got dismissed or basically disregarded by him, I'm not going to lie, it made me lose a lot of respect for him. And like I said, my career had gone the way that it was supposed to go, and I had another year because I was supposed to be redshirted. I would have left because I wasn't on board with where I felt he was going. He was no longer the person that I thought he was. And I think with Magic, even though it's on a deeper level, because he's much closer to Jeanie Buss than I've ever been to my college coach, that I think even when you throw the emotion in, that, again, I believe he truly does love Jeanie Buss, like a sister. Again, she's known him, I'm sure, for well over 30 years. But at the same time, this is business. And I think for Magic, it was 51-49 more of a personal decision than a business decision. Maybe he's trying to, reserve his personal relationship with Jeanie Buss, even though he knows professionally she's wrong. Like, the direction she's trying to go, and she's holding him, she's trying to go, he's not with. And he's sitting there saying, if she's not going to allow me to do the things that I was supposed to be able to do, I can't stay in here because it probably cause a lot of conflict between them. And no matter what, whether it be your best friend, a family member, none of us want to have conflict with each other. It does happen, but nobody wants to deal with it and have to go through those things if you don't have to. And I would think, speaking for myself, my closest friends, that if it was a situation I felt that we couldn't come to an agreement on, that number one, if that friend of mine was in that position of authority, then out of respect for them, I would just be like, you know what, do you? Because even though I still feel you're wrong, I would myself just step back and just say, you know what, if you're going to do it that way, you go on about your business, but I can't be here for it. Because again, I don't agree with the direction. And I think that's what happened with Magic and Jeanie Buss. That Jeanie Buss basically held Magic back from doing what he felt was supposed to be done. 'Cause let's be real, Luke Walton is not a bad coach, but he's not the right coach for this team. I think, again, if you look at it on its face value, yes, he did a great job with Golden State when Steve Kerr was down due to his personal health situation. But let's be real again, though. He was coaching an all-time great team. It wasn't like he was sitting there coaching the Toronto Raptors or Milwaukee Bucks or the Utah Jazz. He went 19-1 with damn near 5 Hall of Famers. I mean, if anything, I wouldn't expect anything less. But it put him on the map. All right? In the last 2 years that Luke Walton's been there, especially this year, I'm sorry, I didn't necessarily see any quote-unquote respect when I saw those players when it came to their, interaction with Luke Walton. I just didn't really see it. Sure, they probably liked him, but the respect, I didn't necessarily see that. And I mean, speaking for myself, I'm one of those where it's just like me. I don't care if you like me, but you're going to respect me. Hell, keep your like. But you will respect me. And I just don't think Luke Walton's that guy for this team. But now Magic's gone. And Luke's still there, and obviously Rob Pelinka's still there. So the question is, where do the Lakers go from here? It's going to be really interesting. I look forward to seeing what happens. I honestly can't say, but I don't hold really any grudge against Magic. A little shocked that he did the way he did, but like Stephen A. said, maybe he just did it to bring to attention again just how, chaotic things really are in the Lakers organization. But one way or another, they're going to have to figure it out. You still got LeBron James for another 3 years. You're still going to have to deal with the fact that you better hope you can bring somebody in to help him out. Because, like I said, this year I gave them a pass anyway. Okay, they didn't make the playoffs. I'll eat that. But I would like to think that, again, barring injury, LeBron comes back healthy, they'll at least make the playoffs again. But will LeBron win a title in L.A.? I had my reservations about that from the get-go, but we'll have to see what happens in free agency. But that's going to be my cue, y'all. That was my tone. It's time to wrap it up. Hey, man, I'm glad to be back. It might be, if I seem a little rusty, forgive me. It's been a while. But we're going to get up again at it next week. Again, your boy, the man attraction, Emory Ogletree II, back in the building. Until next time, let's get it. I'm out.